Right, so here we're going to be doing a review of the new Bladee and Ecco2k album, Crest. This is a brand new, unexpected album from two of the most prominent members from Swedish collective Drain Gang, Ecco2k and Bladee. So Drain Gang is a hip-hop collective that over the years has gained more and more of a larger fan base and almost cult-like following on the internet thanks to a series of projects and mixtapes from fellow artists Bladee, Ecco2k, and Tyboy, as well as contributions from producers like White Armor, whose work has helped more and more bring cloud rap to something even more and more ethereal and more psychedelic and more trippy and experimental at every release. And these releases have resulted in, especially some of Bladee's music, becoming more and more pop-oriented. As it's no secret that in the beginning of Bladee's career, it was more cloud rap and R&B, but now it's starting to drain into more elements of hyperpop, ethereal wave, and synth pop, especially with albums like E from Ecco2k, which is my personal favorite Drain Gang album, and with this album being no exception, as this album completely diminishes almost every single hip-hop aesthetic and gives you elements of ethereal wave, dream pop, synth wave, and psychedelia, and results in some very beautiful tracks, honestly. Now, I've always been a fan of some of Drain Gang and White Armor's production and the atmosphere they go for in their songs, but I've had my digressions with Bladee, and it's no secret to that if you follow my TikTok. More specifically, the sound Bladee's voice. Like, I get it, there are sometimes, and Bladee has definitely mastered autotune. He has mastered and utilizes autotune to the best of its ability with his music, and that's what makes it so appealing. And I get that, and I definitely like the way he kind of utilizes that more moody voice and uses the atmosphere to bury it and meld it within this very cloudy and ambient-like atmosphere. But there are other times where the autotune just kind of removes any sort of human element in the vocals and makes it sound a little bit too mellow, in my opinion, and not in a very good way. And that's really the biggest problem I've had with Bladee. Now, I do think that he has gotten better and better vocally, especially on some later albums like Exeter and The Fool. And I think Ecco2k, the reason I like some of his music more is because he kind of brings out the stuff that I like about Drain Gang, but does it better. But I've always enjoyed it where these two have collaborated, and that's no exception on this album. And this album dropped very unexpectedly, as they're currently on tour right now, although we did have the single a couple of months ago, Amygdala, which I did love the production of this one, but again, the vocals I wasn't really too crazy on, but somehow even this song didn't make it on the album. Despite one of the songs on this album, Girls Just Wanna Have Fun, which has been around for about 2 years now, and has been a fan favorite from some drainers for quite a while now, even if I personally find this to be one of the weaker moments on the album, because some of the best aspects of this album, some of the gorgeous, mesmerizing production just falls a little flat on this song, and the lyrical content from Ecco2k is kind of dreary. And I would actually say that some of the songwriting on this album and some of the songwriting from Drain Gang is kind of overlooked, as some of the lyrics here do detail on elements of spirituality, existentialism, religion, death, and imagination, because a lot of these lyrics are very imaginative. But then you got certain lyrics, such as on the song 5-Star Crest, where Ecco2k is detailing about people who get a bit too imaginative, wishing for certain stuff, but then just don't get it. And 5-Star Crest actually takes up almost a third of this album, and it goes through like 4 or 5 different transitions. It goes from something synth pop to R&B to ethereal, and then ends with something a bit more drony, a bit more ambient. And while I don't really care for the last phase as much, I think the other 3 phases are beautiful. I think both Bladee and Ecco, I like the way they share the verses on the first part. The second part is more primarily by Ecco, and the third part is more primarily by Bladee. And they each have their own different lyrics to share here. Even if the song does more feel like 4 or 5 songs just put together into one, it still really showcases the genius production that White Armor can do when he's at his best. I don't think this is actually one of the best moments on this album. I think some of the best moments on this album, some of the most catchier and more mesmerizing, ethereal kind of tracks. Like, take the opening song, The Flag Is Raised, starts off with more simple kind of synth chords, but then progresses to something more beautiful. Both Bladee and Ecco sound pretty good here. Or the song White Meadow, with its very psychedelic and mesmerizing kind of synths that aren't blaring, but at the same time are not quite, very in your face, but in a good way. It just sounds gorgeous. And I love those occasional, like, barn animal sounds that's incorporated, just like you see on the cover here. And just like the title says, it really does depict being in an open, empty, snowy field. While at the same time, the lyrics here also do kind of detail on borderline sadness, as loneliness and isolation obviously do lead to sadness, and that's what some of these lyrics detail. And once again, the lyrics on here should not be overlooked, as there are some quite deep lyrics on this album. Like, take the song Faust, for example, where there are a lot of spiritual and religious references here, especially on the chorus where Ecco is sort of detailing quite some deep biblical references here, to the point where I'm not sure if these guys' lives are quite private, but I don't think these guys are very religious. But it is clear that Ecco or Bladee or both do have some sort of belief in a higher power, even if they're not the most religious. But yeah, it's clear that he feels some sort of connection with a higher power. And then you have Bladee with his poetry on the first verse, especially on that line, life finds a way, how to portray, the mirror changes, the story stays, which is quite a deep line and should not be undergo. And this song also happens to be one of the more catchiest songs on this album. If only, if only, if only. And we also have the song Yeses, which is also quite repetitive with the lyrics with yes, 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 which I do get is a bit repetitive, but is also quite mesmerizing, and I do somehow kind of like it. And if you are already aware of some of Drain Gang, especially Ecco2k's music, it's no secret that some of their lyrics can be quite repetitive, but mesmerizing at the same time, and it's no secret on this track, and especially with the lyrics as Ecco is detailing about some of the riches that comes with fame, how that stuff no longer provides any sort of value to him, so he wants to give it away to Red Crosses, which is also mentioned in the title. And of course here, once again, the production here is very luscious, especially on the song Desire is a Trap, which is one of the more darker songs on this album, but I still love it. So yeah, this album does provide a lot of the stuff that you would expect from Drain Gang, but kind of ups it up a level and really shows White Armor especially getting onto something. It's like they're kind of exploring realms of dream pop that even artists like Cocktail Twins didn't even dare to touch, and doing it in such a way that feels experimental, but also quite in kind of a appealing and acquainted way, something that doesn't feel too unfamiliar, but beautiful at the same time. Now, of course, this album does have its flaws. It's not perfect, and there are some moments where I still think Bladee vocally is not really shining, and even on the grand scheme of things for some of Blade's other projects, I don't think this album portrays some of his better performances vocally. And that's especially true on songs like Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Because yeah, Bladee does come across a little bit too synthetic on some of these tracks, while Ecco2k on the other hand, I think he's still in his prime and still sounds great. And that's the thing, I think Bladee is kind of bringing out the best of Ecco2k here, and there are some elements where Ecco's bringing out some of the best in Bladee, but other parts where Bladee is just kind of falling flat on his face a little bit. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but that's just how I feel. And let's not forget that there is some parts of this album that don't flow as well, like the song 5-Star Crest, which I do love, but some of the transitions just feel a little unexpected and a little bit random. Even though this is a track that you cannot ignore sonically or lyrically, as it's also a tribute to fellow Drain Gang producer Vattenrum, who sadly committed suicide a couple of years ago, and I think it does justice, as it really does bring out some of the best in White Armor, and some of the best in Ecco and Bladee too. I just wish the track was structured a little bit better, as do I wish with the structure of this album. But no, overall, aside from these small gripes, I think this is a solid Drain Gang album that I did enjoy, and makes me excited to see what the group, or the collective, or what Ecco, Bladee, Tyboy are going to lean into next, because if they're going to continue in this ethereal pop, dream pop kind of route, then I'm all in for it, and I can't wait to see what they do next, because while this album's far off perfect, and it does have its flaws, both flaws that I've always had with Drain Gang or Bladee, as well as a couple of flaws that even some Drainers themselves might encounter, I still think this is quite a solid album, and I'm giving it a flat 7 out of 10. So if you guys enjoyed this review, let me know with a like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you thought of this album, tell me what your favorite track is, your least favorite track is, let me know, or if you haven't seen my TikTok yet, maybe go follow me on TikTok where I post more shorter and less formulaic music themed content or funny music videos. But until then, guys, I will catch you in the next video or the next review, so stay tuned and have a good day. This is Rhino Rates Music signing out. Bye-bye.